All right. So today I decided to read Those Shoes. So it's not a chapter book, it's just one quick read aloud, but it is one of my favorite children books to read. Okay. So let's get started. Those Shoes. It is written by Maribeth Boltes. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, two white stripes. Buy those shoes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here. Just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new winter boots. Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he runs faster now, but not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times he goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall to show off. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Then, one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes falls apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mrs. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. She brings out a box of shoes and other stuff that she has for kids who need things. She helps me find the only pair that fits me. Velcro. Kind of like the ones my little cousin Marshall has. They even have an animal on them. From a cartoon that I don't even think kids watch. Those are definitely not the shoes he wants. Then I come back to the classroom. Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence and Brandon T and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn back. I'm not going to cry about these dumb shoes, but when I'm writing my spelling words, every word looks like shoes, and I grip my pencil so tight that it might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes that you've been wanting so much." I got a little bit of extra money set aside. Might be enough, you never know. At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over and checks the price. What she sees. She sits down real heavy. Maybe they just wrote it down wrong, I say. Grandma shakes her head. No, they didn't write that price down wrong. Those shoes are expensive. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew or maybe got 2 pairs for Christmas and just had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. I ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Black shoes, 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch them. I got these baggy socks. How exciting, my grandma says. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. Curling your toes? Nah, buddy, I don't think they fit. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoes. Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I put the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay. I'm holding my breath and praying that my toes don't fall off right just then and there. But my toes, they don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. He wants them shoes so bad, he's willing to squeeze his feet in them and be hurt. Ain't nothing worth that much. At home, a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my two big feet shuffling around in my two little shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say to Grandma as she gives me a hug. I check every day, but those shoes, they don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfie shoes instead. One day during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look a little smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio is there. The only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfie shoes. I wonder what he went to the park to think about. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoes smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think, I'm not going to do it. Do what? We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. I bet he didn't mean to say that out loud. He thought he was thinking it in his head. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But what is he not going to do? He went to the park to think, and now he's saying he's not going to do it. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty and I can feel him wishing that those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes on his door. He just put the shoes on his door, Antonio's door. Push the bell and run. He was the only kid that didn't laugh. The tape was falling off his shoes and hitting the concrete, and look at what he did. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall? It's then that I remember in my backpack new boots, new black boots that no kid has worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forwards and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. All right, so that was Those Shoes. I hope you enjoyed this book. It is definitely one of my favorites. Talk with you soon.